Thank you for these blessings, Lord.
Are you speaking of the Arab slave trade?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay,
sir.
okay, without question. Now, the difference between the Arab slave trade and the European slave trade is the Arab slave trade never ended. The Arab slave trade is going on right now, and I would personally fault many African-American Sunni Orthodox Muslim leaders for hiding the Arab slave trade under the umbrella of their religion. One of the reasons I left the masjid, because I was raised Muslim, Sunni Orthodox Islam. One of the reasons I had to abdicate from the masjid is there was too much cultural imitation going on. I'm not an Arab, and black people didn't leave the white man's Christianity to go to the Arabs' Islam. Now, Muhammad ibn Abdullah was a blue, black, purple man, just like Jesus, son of Joseph and Mary. You understand? So we don't have to imitate Arabs. But when you don't know who you are, you automatically pick up somebody else's culture. And every religion was incubated in a culture. So Islam was incubated in Arab culture. Although the Arabs of that day were black men who evolved into pale and yellow, still we sucked up the culture more than the religion. And there's a hadith from the Prophet Muhammad who said, give them religion, don't take away their culture. Because he understood that my 23 years of being a prophet cannot compare to 200,000+ years of African culture.
Oh, yeah.
Muhammad was only with you 23 years. Jesus was with you 3. So I'm going to throw out hundreds of thousands of years of African culture for 3 years of Jesus and 23 years of Muhammad. I got to be insane. And my problem with the Muslim brothers and sisters who I love, I'll still go to the masjid and pray. I love them, but I cannot tolerate the Arab cultural imitation. Okay? There's no such thing as Muslim food. Show me Muslim food in the Quran. The Quran does not mention anything about no Muslim food. That's Arab food. See? And you're taking Arab culture and you're putting it in your religion and you're making it divine. And that's why I agree with Dr. 𝐃𝐄𝐒, Garveyite scholar, ancestor now, grandmaster teacher, when he said, religion is the deification of culture. Religion is the deification of culture. When Leonardo da Vinci painted The Last Supper in 1482, 10 years before Columbus, that white Jesus still with us now. Still in the black church now. That white Jesus, that pale skin, blue-eyed, blonde hair, deified white people in the minds of Africans. It has deified us so much that most black churches will never get rid of that white Jesus, even though they know Jesus wasn't white. I spoke in Fort Lauderdale a couple years ago. There was a fundraiser for the Marcus Garvey Technical School in Kingston, Jamaica. I believe it's in Kingston. But the Marcus Garvey Technical School of Jamaica had a fundraiser and I keynoted, right? I met a brother there from Jamaica. He said, Dr. Umar, let me tell you a story. True story. He said, I belong to a church in Jamaica that has a white Jesus. He said, I went out and got a black artist to paint the most beautiful black Christ you can ever see in your life. I told the pastor, we got a black Jesus now. You can get rid of that. And the black pastor in Jamaica told him that painting will never be hung in here. This is the Jesus that we will serve. When your enemy becomes your deity, when your deity and your enemy are one in the same and you are comfortable with that, you deserve to be a slave.
Yeah.
You deserve to be a slave. I will never worship God in the image of another people. And the irony of it is every religious teacher in ancient time came in our skin. Buddha looked like me. Krishna looked like me. Moses, Muhammad, Jesus, they was all black, but we are so comfortable and content worshiping him in the image of our oppressor. And if you say Jesus should be black, they'll call you a racist.
Yeah, they would.
And you know, the arguments I have with my friends, like my church friends, they tell me that, Sean, you tripping, man. Black, it don't matter if he black. It don't matter if his name Jesus. That don't matter.
Exactly. It only doesn't matter when it comes to black. See, we're not relevant. And we've been conditioned to believe we're not relevant. We're not important. We're not worthy of nothing. So if Jesus was black, let's just drop that conversation because blackness is nothing to be proud of. A lot of this has to do with the black church because the black church has multiculturalized us out of racial consciousness. And in being multiculturalized out of racial consciousness, we have been multiculturalized out of our racial divinity. You notice when black people win sports, I remember when Tony Dungy won the Super Bowl. First black coach to win a Super Bowl. They asked him, are you proud to be the first black man? Oh, I don't think about that stuff. When a white man, when a Jewish man win, they'll tell, yes, this for Israel. You follow me? Yeah. This for Iran, this for Iraq, this for America. But when a black man wins something, oh, nah, it never even crossed my mind being the first black. They're gonna ask Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts the same thing. Y'all the first starting quarterbacks on both sides of the ball in Super Bowl history.
Yeah.
Are you proud? Nah. Well, Mahomes got a snow bunny anyway, so, right? Nah. You know what I mean? We've been taught to dismiss the relevance of our blackness, and we got to put it back. But one of the big reasons why we can't put it back is because we work for white people. How are you going to talk about being proud to be black and white people paying your bills? There is no psychological freedom without economic freedom. If you ain't economically free, you ain't psychologically free. That's why every major leader we had was self-employed. Garvey was self-employed. Honorable Elijah Muhammad was self-employed. Frederick Douglass was self-employed. Dr. King, Malcolm. You can't work for white people and fight for black people. That's why we don't have no real leaders in America because most of them are taking money. Al Sharpton, his organization gets money from all kind of white organizations. Jesse Jackson, Rainbow Coalition, gets money from all kind of white organizations. The NAACP, the Urban League, get money from all kind of white organizations. That's why they can't fight for you. The hand that pays is the hand that rules. And that's why in the Garvey movement as Pan-Africanists, we don't believe in taking money from anybody else. That's why with the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, it was all African money. No grants, no government loans. We're the first school in American history to be built exclusively by the African diaspora. And we don't teach hate. We don't hate nobody. But in order for black people to rise, you're going to have to piss a lot of people off because too many people are able to thrive because of your oppression. And see, this is why multiculturalism is such a trap because nobody can afford for the black man and woman to rise. The Arab can't afford for you to rise. White man can't afford for you to rise. East Indian can't afford for you to rise. The China man can't afford for you to rise. If the black man rises, that means you take control of Africa's resources. If you take control of Africa's resources, you automatically become the world superpower overnight. Whoever rules Africa rules the world. This is why they killed Gaddafi. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Gaddafi was sincere in what he was doing. I think he wanted to be the emperor of Africa. I don't think his ambitions were honest, but I still appreciated what Gaddafi did. He was going to spearhead the creation of a Central African bank that was going to be backed by the resources of the continent. With Africa being the most minerally rich continent in the world, if you create a currency, and that currency is valued based on the resources. Can the American dollar compete with the African dollar? Can the British dollar compete with it? Can the Russian dollar? Can the Chinese dollar? That would have made Africa a superpower overnight, and Gaddafi had to die. And who did they use to kill him? The black president.
Yeah.
His own people.
Oh, Barack Obama. Yeah. I see you speak. So the school, far as your school, right? Mm-hmm. Like, is it going to be like a curriculum you're going to have for parents to follow, like if they ain't able to send their kids to your school? Because where you say it's in Delaware,
it's in Wilmington, Delaware. So
right?
We are at the border of Southern PA, Southern New Jersey, Northern Maryland. We're 10 minutes from PA, 10 minutes from Jersey, 10 minutes from Maryland. Of course, we're in Delaware. So we'll be the only independent school to service students from 4 states consecutively. But to your question, we do hope to have a virtual platform within a couple of years. So if your son is in Miami, and by that time your daughter too, because we will have the Anna Douglas Amy Garvey Princess Academy. If your children are in Miami, you want them to access the curriculum, they'll be able to do it through virtual. Yeah, they'll just log in and be in the class. You feel me? Exactly. So they're not being taught by the computer, they're simply in the class by way of video stream.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Gotcha.
From building the school and doing the school, have you had any help? No black people, no big celebrities, none of these?
Nah, I haven't gotten a single black celebrity donation. I know a lot of black celebrities. I talked to them on the phone. They called me up. I know a lot of your favorite people. They support me, but they never donated. And I don't ask them because I shouldn't have to.
Nah, you shouldn't.
You know what I mean?
Why you think they don't? What you
Fear.
Fear. Yeah, I was gonna say
They're
you think they scared. Yeah, I was
They're
gonna say
scared.
that.
They're
You think
scared of their name being mentioned with mine.
Yeah.
And they're also selfish. And what I mean by that is black celebrities don't really do nothing for the black community anyway, except give out turkeys and dedicate basketball courts, right? So if they were to significantly help me, they would want to brag about it. You feel me? And to help Dr. Umar, because I'm a political force, I'm not an entertainer, they would not be able to brag. In other words, he'll go $1 million for the school. Between me and you. You feel me?
I got you.
I can't get on TV and say, I gave the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy $1 million. Because now you're going to catch heat from the crackers.
Yeah.
They got to help me in silence.
Yeah.
That's the problem with them egotistical Negroes. You follow
like,
me? They got to be able to brag about it. They got to be able to, and because they won't be able to brag, they'd rather not give.
Damn.
But I don't mind it. You know why? I think it was divine design. I think it was divine design that we got the school up and running without no celebrity money. You know why?
Because
if we would have did it with celebrity money, black people would still think what? We need celebrity money.
Yeah.
You feel me? So we've shown you don't need celebrity money. You don't need white money.
Facts.
All you need is Negro pennies.
Let's do yourself. Yeah.
Which we should already know because every major black movement we've had in America was financed by black pennies. We got out of slavery through black pennies, civil rights, black pennies, Marcus Garvey, black pennies, Elijah Muhammad, black pennies, Noble Drew Ali, black pennies, Black Panther movement, black pennies, Black Power movement, a Black Liberation Army, black pennies. Every major movement we've had was built by the bottom. It was never built from the top. And I would never want to trade places with them. You know why? Because having been around a lot of celebrities, one thing I've learned, they have all the money, but Dr. Umar has all the power. They could never say out of their mouth in public, probably nothing I've ever said out of my mouth in public. I've seen how enslaved they are by the money that they have. I've seen it. Black celebrities are not allowed to use their money to help their own people.
Black people, yeah.
All they can do is have fun. They're glorified plantation slaves, every last one. And I don't say that to disrespect them, but it's the truth. You are a glorified plantation slave, corporate commodity. Just like a slave 157 years ago, if you had any money, you could only use it to do what? Enjoy yourself. This is why these Negroes got 50 houses, 50 cars, 50 boats, 1,000, every pair of Air Jordan sneaker that ever was made. Why do you need every pair of Air Jordan sneaker that ever was made? Because you're not allowed to use your money to do nothing relevant for your community. Let me say this. Study white millionaires and compare them to black millionaires. Study white billionaires and compare them to black billionaires. You probably can't name me a single white billionaire who does not employ at least 5,000 to 10,000 of his own race. I'm gonna say that one more time. You can't name me a single white billionaire, Chinese billionaire, Arab billionaire who doesn't employ at least 5,000 to 10,000 of his own race. Now show me a black billionaire who employs 5,000 to 10,000 of his own race. You know why you can't? Because the white billionaire says that my success must automatically reciprocate to my people, or I will be rejected by my people. Do you understand me? Black billionaires, they only are concerned about themselves and their family, and they simply want all the other black people to worship their wealth. You feel me? So they'll come in a ghetto with a big truck and a car, right? So they can be worshiped by blacks, but they don't want to empower blacks. Black millionaires and billionaires do not systemically empower other black people. Black celebrities do not systemically empower other black celebrities. White people do it as a rule of thumb. We hardly if ever do it. Look at Oprah. No disrespect. The richest woman in the history of North America, black or white, Oprah Winfrey. The richest woman in the history of North America, regardless of race. I don't think she employs 5,000 of her own people. Black money and white money do not behave the same. That's why you'll never find a filthy rich white man marry a poor white woman. You will never find a filthy rich white man marry a poor white woman. Never. But a filthy rich black man, his ass can't wait to get the brokest snow bunny in Liberty City and make her the mother of his kids.
Dr. Umar, I gotta ask you something, right? You don't be scared talking this shit right here,
It
man.
ain't shit.
No, talking this game, giving this.
It's the gospel of Garveyism.
Sorry.
King cold conscience.
Right. Here's what I would say to
They
that.
ain't never come to you before like, yo, here go 10 mil, man. Shut this.
I was told.
You ain't scared.
I was approached by FBI agents, black ones, who cared about me. I've had 2 or 3 FBI agents who pulled me to the side. They came to my event and said, listen, you need to be careful. They're watching you. I work for the Bureau. You can't trust nobody. You can't trust the women you sleep with. You can't trust your family. They said, consider every device you got is bugged. Your phones, everything. Everywhere you go, they're watching you. I was told this multiple times by black FBI. So
I believe that.
here's my thing. I believe it too, and I don't give a shit.
Yeah, straight up.
Here's my thing.
Fuck 'em.
Because you can't care. I'm going to tell you why.
Right, yeah.
I want you to go on YouTube and listen to some of Malcolm X's friends talk about Malcolm's last days. Listen to some of Dr. King's comrades talk about Dr. King's last days. What did they say about Malcolm and Doc? They said that they got so overwhelmed with the paranoia of being murdered that they felt they secretly wished to be dead. The fear of death became greater than death itself. That they felt that in those moments when they died,
They might have been dead.
they might have took a sigh of relief. Because every day you wake up, you don't know
about being,
exactly.
Yeah,
Is the bullet coming from here?
Yeah.
Is the bullet coming from
So
here?
you can't
Are
care.
they going to kill my children? Remember, they bombed Dr. King house twice. You feel me? They bombed Malcolm house the week before, right? So I don't ever want to get like that. I don't ever want to get like that. So for me, I understand the risks. I'm no Superman. I take my precautions as I need to. But my stability is in my relationship with Supreme Consciousness. This is why I'm Ifa devotee. So I practice the spiritual system of the Yoruba peoples of Nigeria. I'm all about African spirituality. It's what liberated Haiti. It's what's going to liberate us. So as far as I'm concerned, whenever the Lord is ready for me to come back home, I'm ready to go back home.
You ain't tripping off nothing.
I'm not tripping off nothing.
All right.
And I don't want people around me tripping because here's one of the, I just had this conversation last night. I be getting these texts from ninjas, right? They be like, Dr. Umar, don't end up like Malcolm. Don't end up like. Later for that shit, stop putting that shit around me.
Facts.
Because I'm not thinking about that. You understand me?
Yep.
I don't know how I leave this earth. None of us do. But I don't need you filling my atmosphere with all this fear.
Crazy.
Don't end up like Malcolm. Don't end up like Fred Hampton. Keep your scary ass where you at. But I don't live my life under fear. Stop coming around me with all that fear talk.
Yes.
Because when I look at Biggie and Pac, and Pac my favorite rapper of all time, and I love Big too, but Pac was my favorite. I believe they played a small role in their own demise because they constantly thought about it,
talked about it, yeah,
and spoke on it. And every religion teaches that there is power in the tongue.
Yes.
In fact, in Yoruba culture, you know what we call it? Afo, ashe. Afo, word. Ashe, power. We're taught, be careful what you articulate out of your mouth, because this throat chakra can activate those words and bring the thing that you don't want into existence. So we have to be very careful because as the Bible says, and I'm not a Christian, but there's truth in the Bible when it says life and death are in the power of the tongue. And I think that Pac and Big, like Malcolm and Martin, although I don't compare the latter two to the former two in any way, shape, form, or fashion, Pac and Big were not Malcolm and Martin at all.
Yeah, I get you saying.
I think all four of them inadvertently and unintentionally
spoken into their life.
Spoke some of it. I'm not saying that's the reason they left.
Yeah.
I'm saying they gave it energy.
Yeah.
I'm not giving that shit no energy.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Umar, man, me and this ninja right there across the left of you right there. Me and this ninja argue all the time. It's ignorant. But you know what I mean? He takes Malcolm. I say, man, you can't take Malcolm without taking Martin, because I think Martin stood for a lot. Like, we wouldn't be living so freely if it wasn't for Martin. And he like, man, Martin, the agent, man. And
Nah, Martin wasn't the agent.
yeah, I'm finna say it, man. So we be, sorry, this, that, and the third. I'm like, nah, man, Martin died, man. And I just see you talk about the Kremlin report. I tried to go research it, and I couldn't even find nothing. A Kremlin report. You said a month later he got...
Not Kremlin.
I got it wrong?
The President's Advisory